BBC Radio Berkshire.
Do you know, it's been a very odd week. It all started with a phone call from Susanne Courtney.
I came across this gentleman who was really lovely, ever so friendly. We got in a chat and he said, I used to work with Tony Blackburn. In fact, I was his best man. And I thought, well, this is brilliant. Before we announce this on the radio, I better check that this guy is who he says he is. So I ring Tony's producer, because Tony wasn't in yet, who's a guy called John.
So I said to Tony, I said, well, Susie's with this guy, says he's your best man. And Tony said, well, what's his name? And I said, well, Richard. And Tony said, well, Richard Swainson. And I checked back with Suze. I said, well, what's his surname? Is it Swainson? And Suze said, yeah, it's Swainson. And Tony said, well, it can't be. He said, he's dead.
So I go back to the shop at the end of the show. We're off air with the breakfast show. It's 10:05. And I go back in and I say, Richard, lovely to meet you. The thing is, I've spoken to Tony and he reckons you're dead, which is probably the weirdest sentence I've ever said to anyone. And he said, funny you should say that. I got an email from someone the other day who used to work with me and he thought I was dead as well.
So Tony said, can you send over a picture? Let's just double check this. And Sue sent over a picture, got it through on my phone, showed it to Tony.
And I immediately get a text back saying, that's him, that's Richard, he's not dead.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought that Richard Swainson had died about 30 to 40 years ago. We used to work together on Radio Caroline and Big L Radio London, and also we've been on holiday together. He was my best man at my wedding. And so I rang up Phil Swern, who is my producer on Pick of the Pops, who knew Richard very well, and Colin Berry, newsreader from Radio 2. And I said, am I right in thinking, because I was beginning to doubt myself, that Richard Swainson is... and they said, yes, he's dead. I said, he's not. And he's going to be my guest on the programme today, in fact, and I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen Richard Swainson for 30, 35 years. He's going to come in the studio right now. And this is the most unusual, but good God, it is. Sally Swainson, you are alive, sir. How lovely to see you. Come and sit down.
I'm alive and breathing.
This is the most unusual thing that's ever happened in my entire life.
Me too.
I could not believe it.
I have no idea where that all started from, that business about. I was aware of it.
How long ago were you aware that you were dead?
About 6 months ago, if I say the name Mary Byrne to you, that...
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I suddenly started getting emails, one from Norman St John in Australia, one from Mark Roman in Spain, saying, we're glad to see your name on the Mary Byrne. We all thought you were dead.